The Moving Iron Podcast is brought to you by these great sponsors. Are you looking to value your equipment more accurately, target the right buyers and close more deals, reach your ideal customer? Then look no further. Fusable isn't just about ag data, it's about action. Our best-in-class solution empowers you to value your equipment accurately, make informed decisions, and find the perfect prospects. Ignite your dealership's growth at fusable.com/movingiron-podcast. Out in the field, every decision counts. You wouldn't plant without testing your soil, so why would you prospect blind? Introducing EDA, your one-stop shop for ag equipment intel. EDA goes beyond specs and prices. You get deep dive data on every piece of equipment like UCC filings that help track ownership changes and uncover potential sales leads. D&B firmographics, which help you understand the financial health and buying power of potential customers. Market trends that help you stay ahead of the curve, and insights on equipment demands and pricings. With EDA, you're not just looking at data, you're seeing opportunity. Find the right buyer, sell smarter, and build lasting relationships. Visit edadata.com for your free demo and unlock the power of knowledge. For over 80 years, Iron Solutions has been your go-to data source for ag dealers, lenders, and manufacturers. Get powerful appraisal and value forecasting tools that fuel profitable decisions anytime, anywhere. Get your free demo at ironsolutions.com. Iron Solutions, confidence in every click. Today, there are many ways to finance ag equipment, but nobody delivers simple, fast, or flexible financing like AgDirect. Learn more about your options to buy, lease, and refinance equipment at agdirect.com. Valley Transportation has been hauling ag and construction equipment across the country for the past 33 years. Call Parker at 800-657-4910 for all your trucking needs. At Valley Transportation, our goal is to help you reach yours.
When you partner with Axon, you immediately gain access to a full range of products and solutions designed to meet the complex needs of today's grower. We carry all major brands and sizes of tires and wheels. We specialize in large diameter wheels for large equipment. We have one of the largest OEM replacement wheel inventories in North America. Known for extreme flotation setups, duals, and triples, we have wheels for all makes and models of tractors, sprayers, combines, and grain carts. If we don't have the wheel in stock, we'll custom build, sandblast, and paint in-house. There isn't a more vast inventory in North America dedicated to helping dealers move more iron. With facilities on the West Coast and in the heart of the Midwest, leverage our 230,000 square feet of indoor inventory to solve any problem a grower may have. Move more iron with Axon.
At Big Iron Auctions, customer satisfaction is our #1 goal. As the 40-year leader in auctions for agriculture, real estate, livestock, construction, and transportation, we are here to serve you. Big Iron will handle everything from start to finish. From meeting with you, to prepping your equipment, writing the listings, and collecting buyer's payments, let us do the heavy lifting for you. We love our customers, and we treat them like family. There's a Big Iron sales rep in your area, so let's get together. To learn more, visit bigiron.com.
Moving iron in the 21st century. Hard-working people working hard for you and me. Moving iron, time and time again. Through the years you'll find us here. Moving iron.
Once again, it's time for the Machine Shed. I respect what you've done in the combine world.
But when you step in this ring, you're messing with
Thayer and Fennel.
And that's something you don't do.
Yeah, you're on a different planet now.
You got your eyes locked on the world's most combine selling son of a...
Now I can't help it that I'm custom made. I can't help it that I look good, smell good, woo, can dance all night long. I can't help it.
The Nature Boy. Woo! Last year, Aaron Fiddle spent more money on spilled high guard in fields all over Box Butte County than you made. I'm talking about the cinch shirt wearing, sheep raising, kiss still, woo, combine dealing, diesel driving, hay cutting, son of a gun. He's having a hard time keeping his ostrich boots on the ground. Woo!
Hey, what's rule number one? What's rule number one?
Party.
No, not party. No, it's not party.
Welcome back to the Machine Shed. I got Aaron Fennell back here with me talking about what's going on in the world of equipment, and we always kick it off with a little football talk because why not? Right, Aaron?
Yeah, buddy.
Why not? All right.
It was a great week last week for football past the high school level.
Okay.
Buffs won. Broncos won.
Who'd they play? Who did Buffaloes play? Utah? Was it Utah? Or was that last
Utah.
Week?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, our made-up rivalry game.
Right.
And
it has to be because you're neighboring states, right? Colorado and Utah.
Right.
I mean, by default.
Well, we made up this red rival to the east. Now we'll make up a red rival to the west.
All right. Yeah.
And most importantly, God bless you, Josh Allen. Chiefs lost.
Yeah.
Finally.
Yeah, so
they should have lost the week before.
Should have, but they
should
didn't.
have.
Right? Great teams always find a way to win. Great teams always find a way to win.
It's a disappointment.
I know. That was the most crazy thing on the planet.
You know, that's why the NFL needs to have a little bit of 1970s high school mean coach yet. Like, there's no reason Sean Payton should have been like, okay, everybody grab hands and everything. On the line. On the field in Arrowhead.
Yeah.
Special teams, on the line, now.
Yeah.
We're running gassers. After the game, yeah, at least you got people to cheer for you. Go. Oh, damn it, man. Anyway, our boys are both done. Lost the same night.
Yep, they did. The one thing about the Chiefs losing now is that they're automatically have been disqualified from the Super Bowl. Any chance to get in the playoffs now? Because if there's any one announcer that just makes my skin crawl more than anything, it's Chris Sims. That guy just drives me freaking crazy.
Chris Sims?
Yeah.
See, I'm a anti-fan of his father.
I like his dad.
No, that started in January of 1987.
Well, I'm sure, but in case you guys don't know this, Aaron Fennell holds a grudge forever over nothing.
Yep.
Nothing he could even have
it's not nothing.
Nothing he could control, right? And there's not one thing.
But it's not. It might be out of my control, but it's certainly not nothing.
1987, Aaron Fennell was, 9, right? So,
8.
Yeah, you were 8. Okay, there you go. So, yeah, I mean, it's like completely, it's like couldn't help it. And, I mean, back then the Broncos were they were kind of like the Bills before the Bills. You know what I mean? They would get to they'd kind of they didn't go 4 in a row, but they went, I don't know how many Super Bowls they went to.
3 and 4 years.
3 and 4 years.
And every loss was worse.
So they had and then what they had, so
lose by 20, lose by 30, lose by 40.
So Elway played for 5 Super Bowls, won 2, right?
Correct.
Right? Yeah, okay. So he's not, it's not quite as bad as the 4 falls of
it's a hell of
Buffalo.
A long ways better than that.
It's close though. It's flirting with it.
Not.
Anyway, it's flirting with it.
It's called back-to-back Super Bowls. I'm out. That's hard to beat, man.
No. I'm saying, like the Bills played for 4 Super Bowls and win in a row, right? What I'm saying is that the Broncos played for 5 Super Bowls in 10 years?
Wow, holy shit, they were really good, huh? Yeah, 11 years.
11 years. So, I mean, statistically, that's a pretty good franchise. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Every other year, by the numbers, you're
right.
You're playing for a Super Bowl.
Just like my boy Touchdown Tom.
Right. Yeah. Tom Brady played for 22 years, right? Is that right?
Yeah, I believe 22, and he was in 8?
And know.
He's got 7 rings, and oh god, he's
played
10.
for 10. He's played like 10 or 11.
Yes.
So yeah, it's kind of a big deal.
Hey, you want to grab lunch? I can't. Next week we got the damn Super Bowl. I can do the week after though.
That's still back in the day when the week after the Super Bowl was the Pro Bowl. So it was so.
Which it still should be.
Yeah, I always liked it when,
and it should still be in Honolulu.
It should be,
and it should still be your helmet with the normal red-blue jerseys.
Yep. I kind of get it, though. I kind of get why they stopped doing that. Just because, these guys, I had ruined my career because I played in the Pro Bowl. So, that's
like 0.5% has ever happened.
Well, Neil Smith got kicked out of the Pro Bowl. So,
kicked out is different than getting hurt.
But I'm saying, some people, can't turn it off. You know what I mean? They're not, some guys are like, hey, this is an expedition fight, right? So everybody calm down, right? Not Neil Smith. He's still swinging the bat after a sack.
Hey, maybe Neil Smith holds a grudge. That's what fuels that motor, buddy.
Maybe, but it was
the golf swing. Yeah. Was it? I thought it was a golf swing, not a bat. It was a bat.
Yeah, it's a bat. Yeah,
because he was one of those guys I held a grudge for a very long time, and then at the end of his career, loved him dearly.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Same with Peyton Manning. Hated that guy.
Yes, I really hated that guy for a while.
And then he came.
Now he's my adopted brother.
Right. So it'll be interesting.
Eventually, people get smart and head for God's chosen NFL team. Because if God's not a Broncos fan, why are sunsets orange? Best bumper sticker on earth, son.
Yellowish orange. I'll give you that. They're not Bronco orange. So. Pretty orange. But it's that time of the year now where you've got everything else is starting to
Buffs are going to make the playoffs. Season. Big 12 champs.
Yeah. Well, that's something. That's just so cool.
XII instead of SEC. XII. Big 12 16.
Yeah.
Big 12 16.
I can't wait to see how many national champions play. I mean, national championship games come out of the Big 12.
A lot.
We'll see how many. I feel sorry for the Big 12 because they're going to be, even at large teams, they're going to struggle to get into the 12.
That's nothing but SEC bias. That's all that. It is such horseshit.
It's going to be.
God, I am so tired of it. The SEC has nothing but 2 lost teams, and they still have the whole playoff.
Dude, SEC is the Big 12 of the early 2000s. Seriously, it's what it is, right? They've all they just beat up on each other, and then they ruin it for everybody.
But they don't, because then the committee, a 7-loss Alabama's way better than an undefeated Boise. Well, probably not.
Oh, I'd take that money any day of the week.
Never, ever. Undefeated, you still got to win games, buddy.
Great. Yeah, let's see.
I don't care if you're playing Idaho Jesuit High School.
I remember not too long ago, I would have probably been
You remember Fiesta Bowl?
20 years ago, probably now. But there was this whole uproar because University of Hawaii was undefeated, and they needed their shot of the thing. They go play Georgia, and Georgia kicked the ever-living shit out of them.
By about 50 points.
Yeah. I think the final score was 55-7 or 52-0 or 53 or something along those lines.
All right. So Boise was a bad choice. How about K-State?
Well, you saw what happened when Alabama played K-State a couple years ago.
Yeah, with the same record. They were both 10-2.
Right, and it was an overwhelmingly just like sooner or later.
It wasn't overwhelmingly. It got out of hand in the second half.
And that's what happens. You'll show up, 2 teams. It's like a boxing match. Two boxers show up on, one's not quite as good as the other, and then no one's getting respect, blah, 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 blah. And they go after it, and then the 8th round comes around, and the guy that's the badass ends up winning overwhelmingly. I'm a K-State grad, all right? It is what it is. But watching that game, I was excited to watch the first 3 quarters of the game, first 2.5 quarters of the game. And then after that, Alabama ran away with it. Am I right or am I right?
I don't care.
That's right. I'm right. It's just fine. You don't have to be so bitter. I mean, it's all right. Things happen.
I despise SEC football.
Well, I'm not saying I'm an SEC fan by any stretch of any
by
imagination. By
supporting them, you are. You might as well be in the top deck chanting at a bowl game.
What I'm saying is I think we're 2 years away from NIL and transfer portal and all those kind of things to really leveling out what the overall landscape of college football looks like.
Two years away from what?
From talent-wise being pretty level across college football.
Problem. You're right.
You still have dominant teams, don't get me wrong, but you're going to have it's not going to be like 0 to 100, and there's going to be somewhere, you know.
Case in point, you have an Indiana current day.
Good example of that, right?
Who, we'll find out tomorrow, but thus far seems very legit, not just Cinderella.
Yeah. They play Ohio State
They're
tomorrow.
doing it the right way and all this shit. It ain't like they're beating everybody with a quadruple reverse pass.
Right. Yeah, they're
just
playing fundamental football.
Kick your ass.
They play Ohio State tomorrow?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm not a big moral victory guy, right? But it's one of those things where if you go play Ohio State and you don't
and you lose by 10,
you lose by 7. I mean, that's compared to where until I forgot that Indiana had a football program until about 3 years ago.
You
know what I mean?
When they had Michael Penix. Probably when Penix beat Penn State on that.
Yeah.
In overtime.
I was like, oh, yeah, they got a football program at Indiana. I forgot about that. Right? So, I mean, it's the same thing, like, as, of course, I grew up in Kansas, but I mean, like whenever KU's fire would flare up for about 3 seasons and they would go on and do something amazing, and then they would have this 10-year drought of just getting, being everyone's homecoming team again.
Right.
That was, same kind of deal. Like, oh, yeah, I forgot they had a football program. It's not intramurals there at Kansas.
Well, that's because they had a good coach and they ran him out of town. So,
well, a lot of that too.
Because apparently, I guess you're Kansas and you can afford to run a football coach out of town.
They have a program that brings in 12 players a year that generates, I guess, billions of dollars. They can do whatever they want with. So,
right. Yeah, I was just gonna say, can we get some of those warm up, Jack? No, those are for basketball. Coach Self ain't gonna let you guys have those.
Yeah.
Is there a chance that we could turn the water on? Well, we can't because there's a basketball game tonight. We got to make sure concessions has all the water. So you guys just have to get through if you can.
Yeah, that's a weird.
But when KU's good at football, it's fun. Like it is, because guys like us, we're in our mid 40s, and we've only the 08 Orange Bowl year, and then like 94, 96, they were like a 9-3 good bowl team. Dana Stubblefield, D lineman, that era.
Yeah,
that's when they had the red KU on the helmet.
Mm-hmm.
In the mid-90s, they had a blip. In the mid-2000s, they had a blip, and then they kind of fell off until
Junebug.
Lance got there. Now they were coming around, and now they've been kind of cursed all year. So let's hope that curse continues just one more week. Because we
had a let's see, when has that been? So I was in high school. We had a really good running back named Eric Van that played at KU. He played. That would have been 95, 96, I think. Or 94, 95, something like that. Anyway, he had that was behind old Junebug. What the hell was his last name? Anyway, that's when they had a pretty good run then. I remember watching those games, seeing that. But anyway.
Not quite as good as the town a little bit to the west. Young man from a California JUCO shows up wearing number 5. Your friend and mine, Chad May, baby.
Chad May.
And the rest is history. Which is ironic, because when Chad May got there, they looked like Mike Leach was the OC.
Yeah.
And then after that, it's all dual threat quarterbacks forever.
All right, well, yeah, they got
forever. No more pocket passers. Everything is, because Bill went, what are they doing in Lincoln?
Yeah, but he also threw the ball, too.
Well, yeah, more than an option team for sure.
They had
otherwise you wouldn't have 13 Lockets.
It's kind of like a West Coast offense meets a
It was spread. RPO before RPO. There you go.
There you go. That's before RPO was cool. That's
See?
exactly right.
Bills just revolutionized the game again and again.
Yep.
How do you turn a program around quick? No NIL.
You go JUCO, baby.
JUCO, baby.
You go JUCO.
Yeah. No transfer portal. We don't need one. I happen to be in a state full of really good kids who couldn't get in here the first time.
It's got to go around the system, so you got to do.
Yeah.
Just an end around.
So here we go. And if anybody ever wants, if you're a K-State fan, please reach out to Casey and talk a lot of smack, because it's, as someone who loves K-State, it's very offensive that he talks how he does about his alma mater. It offends me. It offends me every football season, a multiple of 3 times at least.
I think K-State football is a quality program.
They've never done nothing. They get all excited and they've never done a thing. The fact that they're rated is enough for a team that never was for 100 years. Goes to bowl games. Wins a conference championship. Plural.
Right. That's like Bud Kilmer being proud of his 10 district wins, right? His 10
district 2 state titles. Count
them. My thing with that is I think K-State football
I just want to walk up to a podium and go.
I think K-State football is great. I think they're a good history there, got a good program, but there comes a point in time when you got to go to the next level, and what does that mean? What does that look like? How do you get there? And I think the current coach is going to get him there. I think he has an opportunity to get him to that, especially the playoff system, like get into that playoff and start making that run. And I hope they do. I really do. I love watching K-State football. It's great deal. And the way the Big 12 shaped up now, they have every opportunity in the world to be Big 12 champs more often than they were in the past. They're 7 Big 12 championships or whatever it was that they have now. So 5 or 7, something like that. But it's got to get to the next level. And they've been here. They can't get to here, right? Just got to get. They keep every time they get to here, there's like a lot of heartbreak in there.
So as an OU fan, sir, they're supposed to go to the playoff and then get boat raced by 50, and then you're a program.
No, I'm not saying that any of that stuff is the way to go either. But what I am saying
is, spell ouch without OU.
But you can also count the 7 Heisman trophies they have, and national championships, and it's a program with a storied history.
I know it is,
right? Just like as much as I'm not a Nebraska fan, right?
Gross.
It's hard. It's hard to sit there and look at Nebraska and say they're not a storied program.
They're not anymore,
but they have a history, right?
Well, that's great,
right? And
they are the opposite of K-State. Nebraska, every meal ticket they have for the last 25 years is because of shit beforehand.
Oh, well, everybody
every meal ticket K-State has is since 1992.
Every program hangs their hat on the past.
Every
program does. When Notre Dame was horrible, they were still, but it's Notre Dame, right?
That's not the past. That's where the brand comes in. The brand. Well, Nebraska is a brand. Notre Dame is a brand. USC sucks. They're a brand.
Why is it a brand though?
Because people choose to like them out of no reason.
Because they were good at one time for a while in the past. So that's why.
There you go.
Okay. All right. Let's talk about equipment now.
Nix moves the sticks. That's all you got to know.
Okay. Sounds good. All right. Hello and welcome to Moving Iron Podcast. I've got Parket Johnson back here from Valley Transportation to talk about end of the year trucking. It's a big time of the year. We got a lot of holiday stuff coming up, especially this time of year with Thanksgiving and Christmas coming up and New Year's. I mean, those three holidays run right in a row, and they're always, the Friday after Thanksgiving is an unofficial holiday, but it's pretty much a holiday. So each one of those days have a 2-day holiday associated with them. So a lot of stuff, a lot of moving parts, a lot of busyness on the highways right now. And Parker, when you look at this, you have to sit back and say, man, this has got to be when I used to do this and I'd look at this time frame, I'd talk to guys like you, it felt like your hair was on fire most of the time. So
yeah, it gets to be tricky, with all the travel restrictions, oversized equipment going down the road and, just trying to keep everybody safe. And every year it comes and goes, and every year we deal with the same problems. So, one thing I can say to customers anyway is kind of expect delays.
Mm-hmm.
We hate it having drivers sit on the side of the road for 3-4 days, but it is what it is.
Yep. So there's that was a question I was going to ask you. So when you're looking at, here we are, what is this, Tuesday before Thanksgiving? Yep. They usually have those width limits and stuff like that start to get shut down. Usually, is it 12 hours before Thanksgiving Day? Is that how it works?
Every state's a little bit different. Some states have 0 travel restrictions. You can run wide, heavy, don't matter. But then you get other states that they shut down at noon the day before Thanksgiving, and there's no travel allowed until sunrise on Monday. So you got Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. You got 5 days shut down for oversized travel.
Right.
And drivers try to find different ways around it, whether they got to take a different route, go through other states that don't have any restrictions, and kind of utilize as many miles as they possibly can over that window. We understand, dealerships are closed and stuff like that too. So, it's just another one of them pains we have to deal with.
Yep. So talk a little bit about the permitting side of it. So if I need, pilot car, something like this, that's again, every other state completely wildly differs on the pilot car situation. Some you need a pilot car, some you need one in the front, one in the back. Sometimes you don't need any. I mean, it just depends on where you're at, what you're doing.
Yep.
Getting the permitting for that this time of the year, I guess, talk about that process and what kind of lead time do you need to make that kind of stuff happen?
Yeah, that's another tricky situation. I mean, you get all these state offices, they're closed down for the holidays.
Right.
They get a 5-day weekend coming up here or 4.
Mm-hmm.
And then just they're running half staff or whatever. So you have to wait a lot longer for permits to come in. And there's one state in particular, and this wasn't even around a holiday. This was just them being slow. We had a permit. We were number 300 and I can't remember, almost 400 in line. And it took like 3 days just to get a standard oversized permit back.
Yeah.
Ran into an issue in Tennessee the other day with a heavy load for a customer, and we waited 2 weeks to get this permit. And we called them, and I think they said the wait time was like 5 days to sit on the phone and wait for somebody to call.
Yeah.
And then now, it's getting winter time too, and the weather is changing every day, and it's going to get cold, and it's going to get ice and snow and all the other good stuff that comes along with it. I just heard on the radio yesterday, I think it was Donner Pass between Nevada and California. I think they were expected to get up to 7 feet of snow or something.
Yeah.
This week.
Yeah.
We run that
coming that way.
We run that pass a lot with all the equipment coming out of the Midwest going to California.
Yeah.
We get there and it's closed. Just sit there and wait.
Yeah. Yeah, this time of the year, there's a lot of sit and wait. It just seems like there's a lot, because it's not necessarily the obviously the holiday schedules play a big factor of that, but you start looking at weather, and that makes it even a bigger deal.
Yeah.
When you're talking to dealers, how are you having that conversation? I got a tractor in Nebraska. I need to get it to wherever, Utah or whatever. How often are you taking a look at that and saying, hey, there's obviously all the permits and everything that go along with that if you need them, and then all the stuff that you have to do on the backside. When you're looking at weather forecasts and those kind of things, how are you factoring that into when you're having that conversation with the dealership?
It's hard to really factor in the weather just because it's so unpredictable, but a lot of the times when I'm quoting freight, the stuff might not be paid for. The guy might still be on the fence about buying it, so it's hard to factor that in right up front. Sure. It might be 2 weeks before that tractor's ready, and a lot can change between now and then. So, unless they tell me up front that, hey, this is going to be ready to go tomorrow, the guy bought it, as long as your price is good, you got the deal. Then I might start looking into it a little bit more. But, I also, right now when I'm quoting freight with Thanksgiving, everybody asks, well, when can you get it? That's usually their first question. And, well, it's hard to say. You got so many drivers wanting to be home, and then with this travel restrictions, and everybody, basically understands that there's nothing else the guy can do. So, if I say, well, it's going to be next week, well, more than likely they had Thanksgiving plans or family to go see or whatever, so they're going to be around anyway. So, as long as everybody realizes that, we're all in this together and have to deal with the problems as they come.
You can only work at the speed of government, right? And that's about how that works on your end, right?
Right. There you go.
There you go. That's wicked fast too, if you really.
But everything seems to be kind of picking up here too. The last few weeks, people buying stuff towards the end of the year, and harvest is wrapping up, and getting a few more phone calls, and the factories down in Waterloo has been picking up a little bit, so there's been quite a few more tractors to haul compared to what it was, a month ago or so.
Yeah. Yep.
It's been pretty steady, but obviously it hasn't been lighting the world on fire like it was a couple of years ago.
Yeah, definitely. That's for sure. So now we're in the heart of the end of the year buying cycle for when it comes to auctions. We've seen a lot of auctions pop up that are going to be a big deal. I guess as you're looking at some of this stuff, if I'm looking at buying something on auction, what's the easiest way for me to have that conversation with you about getting it hauled back to my farm?
Yeah, and it's always best to figure out what it's going to cost you before you start bidding. You can get a hold of me at 800-657-4910, and I can get you a price within a few minutes, so you're ready to go when the sale does come around. Speaking of sales, we're going to be down in Fort Madison, Iowa at the Merit auction next Monday or Tuesday and Wednesday. I think the auction's on Wednesday the 4th. We're going to be down there on Tuesday getting our trailers set up. So if anybody's around for the sale or watching anything on that auction, be sure to reach out to me, and I'll be down there and I can get you a price and let you know how much it's going to cost to get her home.
Right on. That's always the kicker there. Sometimes I'm worse at that when I start bidding on something, then I realize oh shit,
later.
Shit, I gotta get this back now. What's just gonna cost me to get it back? And then next thing you know, it's adding $3,000 to $5,000 on there. Next thing you know, you're like, maybe I'm a little deep in this than I wanted to be, but it always works out in the end. So
yeah, you always figure it out. But yeah, it's definitely nice to have that number up front, whether you're financing or whatever, so you can put that on the bill too. Just have all your ducks in a row.
For sure. Well, Parker, that's good news, man. Glad to see that you guys are going to be down at that auction. It's going to be a pretty big one. There'll be a lot of stuff flow through that one. It's good to see I don't know. I can't remember. Is this a live auction where they're going to have live and online auction? We're going old school, so it's not going to be all online. So
have them on our live auctions too.
Yeah. I love a good auction. So it'll be good to see you guys down there, and we'll go from there. So Parker, good stuff as usual. Folks want to reach out to you one more time. What's the easiest way to do that?
give me a call at 800-657-4910 or shoot me an email at pjohnson@valleytransinc.com.
Right on. So if you're going to be bidding on that auction down there at Merritt Auctions in Madison, Iowa, make sure you give old Parker a call about your freight costs, because they'll take good care of you. So, Parker, appreciate you being the podcast, man.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thanks a lot, Casey. We'll talk to you later.
All right. All right. This will probably air last week of November, first week of December sometime. And we are headed into the final year. So, I mean, I think I like to talk about a recap of the year every year, just to go back and take a look at what's going on. And when I look and see at 2024, did it have its challenges? Yes. Is there light at the end of the tunnel? I think you're starting to see some. And the great thing about what we're going to see in 2025, in my opinion, is that there is going to be a lack of 2025. Like we talked about last time, there's going to be a lack of 2025 deliveries, which should free up some space in what available inventory looks like, and we should see some leveling out of what's there now. A lot of things are in play for what 2025 looks like. For as much uncertainty as there was in 2024 about, presidential race and farm bills and this, that, and the other thing, we know Donald Trump's going to be president. We know what he did the first time, right? What's the second time look like? And that second time is going to have a big play on what we see happening with commodity prices, right? When you look at tariffs and those kind of things and blah, 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 blah. I feel like he's going to have a different approach to tariffs than he had the first time, and he's going to have more support than he had the first time going in to do stuff. So I'm thinking that 2025 is not going to be as bad as that's the best way to put this. As bad as I think some of the pundits out there are painting that picture. I feel like there's going to be a better opportunity for, good example. Here's a great example of this. I can't remember the exact number, but it's huge. I'm going to say it's something like 50% of the biodiesel is generated from imported cooking oil from around the world.
Right.
So if you stop that and you just use soybeans to do that, all of a sudden, there's not a lot of soybean carryout anymore, right? So it changes the environment, right? Now,
Who's China?
That's right. Yeah, exactly, right? So now you got this happening. So now the other side of that would be, okay, so now that you've set in that into motion, whether this administration is overwhelmingly for or against biofuels, it's one of those things that from an energy independence and all those kind of things, it's just one of those things that has to come into play and factor in, right? So if you take that out and put that in there, all of a sudden, the United States is pretty much growing soybeans for biodiesel at that point, right? For feeding biodiesel, pretty much that's pretty well wrapped up.
To your point, there's been nothing but gigantic crush plants,
right,
going into play. So
if you start seeing that, now the bad thing about that, everything has an adverse effect in there somewhere. Let's just say that all that happens, and now we see $13 beans. That's kind of like the new $10 beans, right? It's amazing how well the ag economy can adjust to. It's like there's some unwritten rule someplace that a farmer can only make a certain percentage of profit, right? You know what I mean? It's like, okay, cool. So corn's worth $3 now. Roundup is, whatever, $30 a gallon, right? Oh, corn's $7 now. Oh, well, fuck, Roundup's $50 a gallon now, right?
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I thought you meant like the farmer would only let himself. No, it's the ag industry.
Yeah. It's just like this, like all of a sudden, like there's a spectrum that just pops up and says, oh, well, we instead of having a 4% price increase on 2.5 or 3% price increase on equipment across some manufacturing spectrum, it's now 6, right? So it's like all these little things that just kind of start happening. And then, so yeah, you might start moving the needle one way or the other, but ultimately at the end of the day, it's one of those things where it feels like you still have to produce the bushels associated with that to maintain the profit level you need to, because your fixed costs go up every time the price goes up on your commodities, right?
Well, to your point about the price increases, it's almost like new equipment was on an auction for 2 years, like 21 and 22. Like, here, I priced this tractor. Oh, you got to go back out there. They went up last night. What?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Got an email. They went up. Like,
yeah.
Now, yeah. Remember the start of the Russia-Ukraine war and fertilizer prices?
Yeah. Fertilizer prices went up. Like, right. Now, some of that stuff's geopolitical, and that's a different thing.
Right. But it all impacts the farmer. It all goes into play into that. God, why is there this ceiling?
Right. And if you take out the geopolitical stuff and you just follow the commodity, the cyclical nature of the commodity market and ebbs and flows of supply and demand and everything else, when you look at that, I mean, why? Because last year something cost X to produce when price of corn was X, and the next year the price of corn goes up. All of a sudden, it costs more to produce that.
Right.
That whatever. Right. So I think those are the things that are.
And if it goes in the tank, in 2.5 years, the prices will come down to match that.
Right.
If it goes up $1 tomorrow, the fertilizer went up.
Right. So all those things come into play there, and there's a lot of swing there. So when I look at 25, assuming that something like this happens, this whole cooking oil thing is whatever, and it does whatever, and I think the crazy thing about that is they were more worried about the carbon footprint of the carbon footprint of
steam.
It was better to bring that cooking oil across from a carbon footprint perspective than it was to just grow the soybeans and go to the crush plant and make the biodiesel. Right? It's just wears me out. So
that's the most foreign sounding. That is the most un-American sounding thing ever uttered.
I know.
And I don't mean from you. I mean, where it comes from.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Yeah. So when you're looking at that stuff,
We'd like to help Europe in World War II, but we're afraid it'll affect our carbon footprint.
Yeah. So when you look at all the stuff that's going, I look at 2025 as a year where there could be a good swing, and I think maybe on-farm income could be better than what some are predicting, and I think that the used equipment glut that we see is somewhat whittled down to a better thing. Like I talked about combines last time, I think this is going to be a time where combines have an opportunity to have a longer moment in the sun than they've had in the past.
Ooh.
And that could be 5 minutes. I mean, I'm just saying I'm not saying
2
years,
days instead of one.
Yeah. Right.
There was on September 9th of 2021. Oh man. So what you're telling me is you think that all the factory scale backs will indeed help?
Well, sure can't hurt, right?
Well, I know it ain't going to hurt. I don't think it's going to help. I think if they did that for 3 years, it would help. But we all know if they're building 4 tractors and they get an order for 6, they're going to build 6.
Well, or they're going to build 10. Because,
there you go.
It's back.
So tell me again how you're helping.
So what we talked about last time is it takes a whole year for all this stuff to turn back around, right?
Right.
So you could come in and all of a sudden 25 EOPs open up, order writing periods open up for all the manufacturers, and everybody's just gung-ho. Let's go out and we're going to crank these factories back up. We're going to go back to 3 shifts. It's just going to be, gumdrops and candy canes again. We don't see the effects of that till March, April of 2026. Okay. In that time frame, if you have to make a decision on a buying decision, and you were maybe you're the guy that has you buy the new tractor and the new combine and the new planter every 3 years, something like that, but you just couldn't see how you're going to make it work getting that new tractor in for 2025 delivery, but you got to worry about, everybody likes to buy equipment based around their tax issues, right? So if you got to make that buying decision, you're going to go try to find that 100-hour, 150-hour, 200-hour, 300-hour tractor, something like that, to make that happen, to run that, and then you're going to trade it back in on the new one that you have on order for 26. I've seen that happen. I don't know how many times I've seen that happen in my career. So now what I'm saying is in 2025, you can see a contraction in the used equipment marketplace that is immediately filled back up in 2026.
Blech.
But here's the thing. The good thing about what happens in 2026 is that when those 1 and 2 or 3 year old trade-ins start coming back in again, they're not going to be thrown back on top of a giant heap of stuff anyway. That trickle down should be there to where when that comes back in, there's less of those machines on the marketplace going in to 2026 buying cycle or trade-in cycle anyway, where those inventory levels start to come back up. I don't think you're going to affect the number of machines on the marketplace. I just think that you're going to better
position them.
Instead of having a black and white zebra stripes, you're going to have a white and black zebra with stripes.
So you're saying they'll still be there, but there'll be enough flow that they'll reposition themselves in a better spot. Is that kind of the angle like you're saying?
12, 13, 14 stuff, right? It started out on the front side, and as it went through the years, it made its way over here. But the number of machines in that specific area never really changed that much.
Right. They weren't scary anymore.
Instead of being 1 and 2 year old machines, they eventually made themselves to be 5 to 7 year old machines. Right? And that's what I think is going to happen. And it's going to continue to have that. And the only way, to your point, the only way I ever see that the market actually says, "Hey, we're healthy again. We're gonna," and the manufacturers come up and say, "Hey, we're gonna maintain this health, and we're gonna keep new production at where it's at for the next 3 years." And all of a sudden, you have an incredible opportunity to realign the used equipment market space and what this looks like until the fellows at Wall Street say, "Where's my money?" And then it all fires back up again.
That'd be all right.
But here's the thing. The marketplace in that same time frame will be totally different than it is today, than what we know.
Why's the market got to totally change itself every 2 years now?
Well, I'm just saying, like, what's the availability looks like.
That's bothersome.
You know what I mean?
It used to be like a 10-year cycle. Now it's like in this 18-month period.
I'm just saying the way the makeup of equipment now is going to change. Right. Think about it. Every tractor that's been produced since 2020 on the Deere side anyway, it's autonomous ready. So
neat.
But I'm just saying, like, think about it. I mean, if you're a guy that's looking at, hey, I'm going to try out this autonomous grain cart thing.
Right.
The
problem is
I want to buy the kit before I buy the tractor.
It's such a small niche of that guy who wants that and wants a used tractor. You know what I mean?
So take 10% of the population, right?
What?
10% of the used population comes to the table tomorrow and says, "Hey, guess what? I'm not going to trade my tractor in. I'm going to buy the kit. Instead of updating my tractor, I'm just going to buy the kit for the autonomous thing, and I'm going to use that just for grain carts, and that's all I'm going to use this tractor for." Or, to some extent during harvest, right? Now I'm going to use it for other things on the farm, but I'm not going to update it because I can get the kit. I don't need to update it to do that. Let's just say that happens, right? Now you have 10% of the people that don't come in. And so let's just say that you sell 10,000 used tractors in a year. You have 1,000 used tractors on the market now that you would not normally have. That changes the market dynamics.
You mean that you got rid of?
Right.
He just bought and didn't trade.
Yeah. No. I'm saying, like, instead of him coming and trading his tractor in, trading his 2-year-old tractor, 3-year-old tractor, or whatever it is in, so that now you've got, in typical world, he would have a 3 to 5-year-old machine, right? Okay. He'll trade that in on a 1 to 2-year-old machine, right? Well, they don't do that because I'm just going to buy the I'm just going to get the kit. I'm going to try it on this tractor first before I go spend the money on this other one over here. So now, instead of me coming to the table and buying those 1 to 2 year old tractors that are out there, like you normally would, you now have 10% of those tractors still laying around that you don't have buyers for.
Okay, I thought you were giving me an example, a good example. That's a bad example.
That's a bad example. That's my point. That's where the dynamics change and what's happening in the marketplace.
Okay, I get it.
That's where I mean. I'm not saying. To me, I mean, the more conversations I have with guys about autonomy, the less excited people are about it. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I don't think it's because they think it's, it's not like 1996 when like, oh, that's just a toy. You don't need to have auto guide. You can get row markers, right? It's not that conversation. The conversation that I'm hearing more people talk about is, you know how much technology I have on my farm now that I don't know how to use? That just comes with this tractor, and I'm trying to figure out how to incorporate all that into my thing. And now you're going to tell me I got to worry about self-driving vehicles? Like, come on, man. Let me catch my breath here for a second.
Personally, I feel it's more along the lines of Rise of the Machines, but that's just me. I don't want to open my house door and have a 8R sitting out there.
Like Maximum Overdrive, remember that show?
Exactly. Same scenario.
What I loved about that show more than anything was the lawnmowers that weren't self-propelled that somehow could end up driving themselves. So that was an attack people.
Dude, if it's an evil spirit, it's an evil spirit. It is what it is.
It does what it does. Even though it can't, there's no functionality to make those wheels turn.
Right.
Demons do crazy things, right?
That's right.
But so I also, the other side of that too is I think the idea of well, what am I supposed to do when I have to go plant my crop? So like no one's giving up the idea that someone's going to not be in the cab during planting season is, I think, so foreign to most people that the idea is cool that I can watch it from a monitor, and do whatever. But when it comes to planting the crop, and harvesting the crop,
yeah, and that's where a lot of the autonomy, usually where they show it being used is tillage and that, that kind of thing.
So tillage is tillage, right? I mean, that's one, as long as you got the right depth, you're doing what you're doing, right? The idea is someone saying like, you think I'm going to trust this? I barely trust the machine now when I'm in it.
Right.
Much less if I'm sitting at my house watching it from my laptop, right?
Yes.
That's going to take generations to get that, to let that go, right?
Yep.
But I think, and I think other thing too is spraying is another thing that's going to be. I think that'll be of those like the three main things that happen in a crop cycle year: planting, application of fertilizer and chemicals, and then harvesting. Maybe the application side of it may be the first one to come to, but then the things like, man, what if the mix is wrong and all of a sudden it starts doing 4 times as much Roundup as it's supposed to be doing, right? And then next thing, like, how do you know? How do I trust this monitor that I'm looking at here? At least I can see it out there doing what it's doing. Like, so those three things, when it comes to autonomy, those three things are like, it's going to be hard for them to let go of that.
Right.
The first generation, I mean, second generation of guys coming into maybe can let some of that go. I think it's 3 generations away before you really have someone that's going like, I don't know why my grandpa's out there in the tractor. It's so stupid. You can sit. I mean, it's just dumb. I don't get it.
And we're the grandpa in that story.
Exactly right.
Because I want to be Junior.
But the other side of that too is like grain carts, tillage work, what else? Like seed tendering, those kind of things. All that kind of stuff. Yeah, they'll happily let that be automated. I think when I look at the autonomous thing, there's specific parts of autonomy that I think makes sense. Don't get me wrong. As soon as you can have a fully autonomous farm, there'll be that 20% or 10% of the population that says,
I believe it's called Musk Farms or Gates Farms.
Yeah. Those guys all have, I mean, there'll be a group of people that totally embrace autonomy and they're going to have fully autonomous everything and all that. But
it's the Muskie Gate Ranch. Ooh,
there you go.
There you go.
I like that. But I think that dynamic changes. That dynamic changes things a little bit when you start looking at things. Other side of it too is, how often is technology going to come down that's going to change what you're doing with? Unless if you're not on an annual roll thing, most guys are updating stuff because there's an hour range they want to mess with, or there's a reconditioning point they don't want to mess with, or something like that.
Right.
How much of that's going to be driven by, well, I mean, do I need to really update what I'm doing right now? I mean, I can pay the reconditioning costs and move on with this. And then because I'm trading for similar technology to what I have now, how often does the conversation start being had of, hey, you know what? I'm only going to trade when the next generation, like iPhone, for example, or whatever, I've got an iPhone 13 and I'm going to wait till the iPhone 16 comes out to get the new iPhone, right? Because between 14 and 15 don't really do much for me, but 16 now, I'll tell you what, it's going to answer itself.
Not a fork handles.
So I think like that's the kind of stuff that you guys I think got to start weighing that. So now that affects what used equipment looks like, right?
Right.
So that's what I'm saying when the used equipment marketplace changes.
It's a little give and take there, because you got in that scenario, you have less new machines produced because it's more of the tech kit upgrade model. But then on the flip side, because it's a tech kit upgrade model, you're going to also sell less of the whole tractor on the used side. Correct. Other than the guys who are jumping into that benchmark of tech.
Right.
So it's in one sense, it helps because you're not going to slug 10 new tractors in there. You're just kitting what's already out there. But on the backside, you got these used ones sitting here that aren't going anywhere either. So,
yep. And I think too, if that were true, for as hard as it was to get planters ordered during COVID,
right?
It wasn't hard to get row units. You get all the row units you wanted, right?
Yep.
But they still sold a lot of new planters, complete planters.
Yep.
Now, again, a generational thing. 5 years from now, who knows? I mean, maybe that's, we're just going to get, we're going to update our row units. We're not going to update the bar.
Right.
But it also has, guys are going to watch what that track record looks like for, well, when, Fred traded in his updated planter, he kind of got back his investment, but not really. And it kind of, was the juice worth the squeeze? Fred, right. What do you think, Fred? I don't know, Fred. It feels like to me, I probably would have done just as good if I bought a new one. You know what I mean? Like something like that. Like those are going to be tape that kind of comes into play. So,
right.
I think we start seeing that happen in 25.
Because on the dealer side, you got the other part about it's a never-ending battle of where do those upgrades fall?
Right.
Exactly. It's not a 16, but it's not a 24 at the same time. Just part of it is.
Right.
So it's like, do you price it like a 20? Do you price it like a 22? Where it's never ending. And then, like we've had it happen. I take that area calls and we had a 2022 1720 CCS planner, and everybody's like, huh? Like, I see the price, the year and the price makes sense, but is that a 25? Like, no, this is an upgrade. So then you go through the whole spiel, and what's the first question? Was the bar okay? No, it's betting a U. We just thought we'd rebuild a piece of shit planner. Like, and that's the problem.
Yeah.
Being on the front lines of all this, reselling those, it's not like selling used and it's not like selling new. It's its own little thing and has its own little talking points and all that. They're a bit of a challenge.
Right. Yeah. So again, it's just going to take one of those things where people have to get used to seeing it, right? It's like anything else. Yeah. Right. Everything has a gestation period where you got to kind of watch it grow and what happens to it, right, when it comes out.
I don't want nothing to do with that net wrap.
That's a good example. That's a great example, right?
Yep.
Why would you want net wrap? I mean, you got that whole thing, and you got a mess now. Or you make a tighter belt.
To smell like baby powder all summer.
Yeah. Or you can make a tighter belt, whatever you want to do. It's up to you. Yeah. So yeah, I think those are all things. And as you look at all the stuff, I always kind of think about this. It's kind of a little different scenario, but how things get accepted in life. When I was, and why I remember this, I don't know, but it just sticks in my head. I was 8 or 9 years old, and there's my dad's boss at the time was a family friend, of his parents, and we'd go over there every Saturday because he was doing whatever with him to do whatever. And I remember going into the house every time, and there was two things that were guaranteed to happen. One, it was the smell of Virginia Slims, and Patsy Cline playing in the background. Right, those
sounds like a hell of a good time.
It was there, and this was back in the day before it was CMT, whatever it was before it was CMT.
TNN.
There you go.
Nashville Network.
Yeah, TNN. And I remember, Alabama is probably one of the most iconic country bands on the planet, right? Right. And this would have been like 1985, probably. Alabama's kind of, they're a big deal now, right? And I remember my dad's boss, the old famous friend, coming like, "What the hell happened to country music? Look at that guy's pants. Look at his pants. Those are leather pants. Looks like some kind of rock star up there. That ain't country music." Well, now if you're thinking of old country music, you're like, Dixieland Delight, baby.
Hell yeah, Alabama, man. 40-hour week.
So now you have. I look when I think about how the transitions in things that have come along. Someday, somewhere, someone's going to be like, "Man, old country music, let's get some of that Luke Bryan on."
Ooh, no.
And I'm going to be like,
no.
Really? Of all the things in the world that you could have picked?
Dude, that ain't going to happen.
I bet you do.
Tell you what I'd like. I'd really like to listen to some of that old Jelly Roll classics. No.
Aaron, that's country. You
think I better be gone.
25 years from now, you're gonna flip on
Willie's
Roadhouse, and it's gonna be Jelly Roll and
who the hell is Willie? Hell, he might be alive still.
Yeah, he might be. But so, long story short is, I think there's an evolution,
ebb and flow
that we see happening, and how that generationally, how those things weave their way through. It's going to have a big effect on used equipment, and I think we're going to see that the twinkle of that in 2025, and it's going to start making its way through 2026. How people look at their inventory based on the things that are out there that are available. People are going to start looking at their what's my labor constraints, and how's technology going to help me fix that? What are my efficiency holes in my efficiency, and how's technology going to help me fix that? What does my investment need to be to go from A to B? And not that those aren't happening now, but it's a different scale than we've seen in the past, right?
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's my 2 cents on that. Anything else you want to throw out there? What your thoughts for 25 might look like?
No, I will say this. It has, ever since November 5th, things have changed.
Yeah.
At least, there's nothing has happened. It's just perception.
Right.
That perception sure unlocked a lot of damn doors.
Right.
So.
Well, I think even if the transverse would have happened and Harris would have became president, I think knowing what you have in place for you makes all the difference in the world, right?
Well,
whether you like the outcome or not, at least you know how to plan for it now.
Right.
So
I think it's I would say that's probably 50% of it. The other 50% is how it went.
Sure. 100%. Yeah. But
which is funny because the last time he was there wasn't exactly rainbows and unicorns for ag, but
no, but it was for a lot of other things.
His ideas were beautiful for long-term fixes.
Right.
They're just going to take like 10 years to fix. Like that tariff thing, get China to finally pay up like they should. I love that idea. It's great. But that's like a 10-year thing. And Brazil needs to have a drought for 10 years. Argentina for that to all really, really work. And yeah, that would have worked. But
the thing about,
I'd rather have $1,000 iPhone and $15 beans personally.
Yeah.
For a $2,000 iPhone and $15 beans.
Yeah. Well, I think too, on the other side of that is if the tariff thing, like he's talking about, hey, come to the United States, build your factories and don't worry about it. It's great. That's awesome. I love that. If the whole world buys into that and they come to the United States and start building factories again to avoid the tariffs, that'll be great. And when he's leaving office, the first factory will be done.
Yep.
Right.
Exactly.
And they'll start making stuff here. So the next president then now has to do something to keep stoking those fires to keep people to do that.
Hey, we love, and because he got there twice, I'm almost certain the next time will be Democrat. Almost. Now, just because of how divided the country is, it's going to ebb and flow just like 2020, right? He's also him, and God only knows what he's going to do the next 4 years that's going to make that happen, right?
And he also has to become president. There's a lot of time between now and then.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
God forbid.
January 6th a few years ago, that was a thing.
Well, I'm just saying, but from the perspective, like, they've tried to kill him twice.
Right. No,
so between now and the 26th of January.
I know.
There's a lot of, and they're being awful nice to him.
Right. But to your point, you get Democrat in there and, your factory that was making a lot of money now has $100 an hour union wages and this and that. And, back to Indonesia. See ya.
Right. So it all comes down to, the wage thing is the wage thing. I get it. But if you're paying.
That's the biggest impact on a company making money, though.
So is 200% in tariffs. So.
Right, I know. That's what I'm saying.
That's what I'm saying. Like, which one's a better?
Right.
If you're 200% more expensive than the thing set right next to on the shelf, is what it is. So
I get it.
2025, you're to pay attention to. Aaron, appreciate you being on the podcast. If folks want to reach out to you, get more information about all the cool deals you have out there. What's the best way to do that?
Well, I try to keep the deals on the Twitterverse when we got them, or X, if you will. On there by my name, Aaron Fintel, AA Ron. Also on Facebook. And you can call me, text me, 308-760-1193, or email me, aaron.fintel@movingironllc.com.
Right on. I am Casey Seymour. You can find me on Facebook, X, and Instagram at Moving Iron LLC. Go to LinkedIn at Moving Iron Podcast. See the video version of this over at the YouTube channel, which is Moving Iron Podcast YouTube channel. And you can see everything that is Moving Iron related at movingironllc.com. And you can also go to TikTok too. I guess we're done worried about no one's worried about TikTok anymore, I guess, because it was going to go off and now it's not, I guess. So I don't. Still in limbo on that one. So check that out. At Moving Iron Podcast there too. So with that, I am Casey Seymour with Moving. I want to say big shout out to everyone that's supported the Moving Iron Podcast in 2024. This was the first year that I stepped out and did my own thing, and I got a lot of good support from that. And the Moving Iron Summit was a great opportunity to bring all those people together, and had a really good opportunity this year to grow my business and see some really cool things happen for me going into 2025. So be more on that to come, but I am looking forward to what that looks like, and couldn't have done it without you, Aaron. So I appreciate you being on here, man.
I was just going to say your buddies and friends are very, very proud of you, brother.
Well, I appreciate that. So I look forward to keep doing this and keep pushing the ball forward here and have more things to talk about as the things roll on. So with that, I'm Casey Seymour with Aaron Fennell, man. Let's go lose some iron. Out. Podcast is brought to you by these great sponsors. Are you looking to value your equipment more accurately? Target the right buyers and close more deals? Reach your ideal customer? Then look no further. Fusable isn't just about ag data, it's about action. Our best-in-class solution empowers you to value your equipment accurately, make informed decisions, and find the perfect prospects. Ignite your dealership's growth at fusable.com/movingiron-podcast. Out in the field, every decision counts. You wouldn't plant without testing your soil, so why would you prospect blind? Introducing EDA, your one-stop shop for ag equipment intel. EDA goes beyond specs and prices. You get deep dive data on every piece of equipment like UCC filings that help track ownership changes and uncover potential sales leads. D&B firmographics, which help you understand the financial health and buying power of potential customers. Market trends that help you stay ahead of the curve, and insights on equipment demands and pricings. With EDA, you're not just looking at data, you're seeing opportunity. Find the right buyer, sell smarter, and build lasting relationships. Visit edadata.com for your free demo and unlock the power of knowledge. For over 80 years, Iron Solutions has been your go-to data source for ag dealers, lenders, and manufacturers. Get powerful appraisal and value forecasting tools that fuel profitable decisions anytime, anywhere. Get your free demo at ironsolutions.com. Iron Solutions, confidence in every click. Today, there are many ways to finance ag equipment, but nobody delivers simple, fast, or flexible financing like AgDirect. Learn more about your options to buy, lease, and refinance equipment at agdirect.com. Valley Transportation has been hauling ag and construction equipment across the country for the past 33 years. Call Parker at 800-657-4910 for all your trucking needs. At Valley Transportation, our goal is to help you reach yours.
When you partner with Axon, you immediately gain access to a full range of products and solutions designed to meet the complex needs of today's grower. We carry all major brands and sizes of tires and wheels. We specialize in large diameter wheels for large equipment. We have one of the largest OEM replacement wheel inventories in North America. Known for extreme flotation setups, duals, and triples, we have wheels for all makes and models of tractors, sprayers, combines, and grain carts. If we don't have the wheel in stock, we'll custom build, sandblast, and paint in-house. There isn't a more vast inventory in North America dedicated to helping dealers move more iron. With facilities on the West Coast and in the heart of the Midwest, leverage our 230,000 square feet of indoor inventory to solve any problem a grower may have. Move more iron with Axon.
At Big Iron Auctions, customer satisfaction is our #1 goal. As the 40-year leader in auctions for agriculture, real estate, livestock, construction, and transportation, we are here to serve you. Big Iron will handle everything from start to finish. From meeting with you, to prepping your equipment, writing the listings, and collecting buyer's payments, let us do the heavy lifting for you. We love our customers, and we treat them like family. There's a Big Iron sales rep in your area, so let's get together. To learn more, visit bigiron.com.
Moving iron in the 21st century. Hard